Hey, how's it going? It's time. It's time to do what we're best at and get rid of this mountain. That's right. Today's the day we start the mega build. That was supposed to be a dramatic zoom, but instead I walked behind a bush. The mega build. Bum bum bum. Just kidding, kind of. I've decided the base for the season is a city. The beauty of it is I can kind of decide as we go how big the city will be. As opposed to the singular large structure mega build that a lot of people go for, I think I'm just gonna go for a mega scene. Is that maybe scene is the right word for it? I'm not sure. But I want to build a city. I want to have an older district of like rundown houses. I want to have like a really high-rise fancy district. I want to have maybe like a suburb. I know that's not really part of the quote-unquote city, but it'd be cool to have like a little suburb area or something like that. And then I'm going to leave this little area open because I'm not sure what I want to put here yet, and I'm sure we'll get some ideas. We also may expand further in that direction and or further in that direction, but I'm not sure about that yet. We've got a few decisions to make. I know I want to make a subway station, so I'm probably going to try to locate that like centrally, and then we'll have to decide based on like the design and how big that subway station is, whether or not we kind of like put one in the four corners as well as what I was thinking, so that you could like ride the subway to your district, if that makes sense. But that's all big future planning stuff. For now, the biggest thing we have to do is flatten this whole area out, at least down to, I don't know, probably like Y69, Y70. Oh, I took my elytra off. Like, I can't see, what is this down here? Yeah, so this is Y69. So if we bring this mountain and this big hill over here down to this level, I think we can raise this area up, and we may have, you know, some elevation change in the city, but, you know, predominantly cities are usually flat, right? So we don't want to have too much gradient, unless we have like between the sections, like between the high-rise fancy neighborhood and like the old rundown neighborhood. Maybe we have like a little bit of a road, like a sloped down there. That could work out. So maybe we'll have like that as one tier, and then down here will be like the next tier of city. We'll see. But before we can do any of that real like minute gradient change in terms of like the floor of the city, we need to get rid of all this stuff in the way. And that means we need to do a whole bunch of digging. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. We covered up the iron farm. I was trying to looking at that like square stone thing with the wood top. It's nothing fancy, but I think it looks better than what we had there. And you know, it's functional. We literally just built this big, essentially it's really just a box, right? Tough brick, tough little spruce action. I put a little bit of cobblestone here on like the faces. I was trying to play with, what do they call it? Highlights, I think is the word. Color, oh crap, I think a zombie broke my door, but I'm not really sure why he would break the door because there's nothing in here for him. Well, that's annoying. I guess we have to do this fancy door placement with this. I did have a door here. You can come in and check our iron. So the farm is literally just still here, and we just built this box around it, but it works. So this has to all be spawn proofed because I did have some golems spawning as I was building this thing. And then yeah, iron farm still works, but I don't know. Not much to say about it. It's just kind of a big shell. We just plopped it over the top of the iron farm. Let's see how it looks. Actually, I haven't even really looked at it from before. Let's see how it looks from the water. That was the biggest thing. I was going to get like thumbnails for the videos and trying to take some like aerial shots, and this building was just, oh yeah, it fits much better. And like we got the tough and the tough. These buildings might look weird when we actually start building the city buildings, but I think we'll build like a row of, I don't know, trees or shrubs or something to kind of like obscure this build from the city. Or, you know, maybe we like have a little park here, and these are kind of part of the park. That can make sense. We'll do some like nice paths. It's like some nice trees, and this can be like a little park area with a lighthouse and a old castle that they didn't want to tear down when they built the city or something. That could be cool. We covered up the mob farm. I think I showed that last episode. That's underneath this big dirt mound. Really can't even tell it's there. You know, except for it's massive and right there. But yeah, we'll have to slope this down to get down to that level, and you know, we can't go any less steep than this because of the mob farm. We could do like a sheer cliff thing here or something, but we're still going to have to slope this down a little bit. So the actual city will probably start somewhere around this area. We may curve it back around a little bit that way, but for the most part, it's going to be from here that way. Yeah, first things first, we're starting this episode off with a really, really big dig. Let's see how far we can get. I'd like to get the whole thing tore down, but we're going to at least get enough of it tore down and leveled out that we can do our first build in the city, because I want to start kind of getting a feel for the roads and the sidewalks and stuff in the city, because I feel like if we can get that in place, we'll be able to start to really envision what the city's going to look like down the line. Now it's time to go through a lot of tools A lot of digging. You can see we repositioned the beacon. It's as central as I could get it. I think it'll reach far enough that we can have haste all the way across both these zones. All right, we've already got one build done this episode, so now it's time to terraform. Here we go. Well, we have to interrupt our big dig because we've received a suspicious package. Now, I happened to see someone with one of these on their island. I guess that kind of gives it away already. There's only so many people on islands. But I'm not sure if it was a present for him or if he was working this device up. I mean, let's be honest. The shape, the color, it's concerning. But my guess is that it's a chest in there. I don't think there's any kind of redstone that could work in a shape like this. So I'm thinking it's just like a sale tactic for an upcoming shop, maybe? We'll see. All right, I'm just gonna dig right in the front because you have to be brave when you're doing things like this. Sorry about the bed bombs. Ah, yes. It is a dragon fight apology. Yeah, I don't know who. I mean, he was definitely a contributor, but it wasn't just Pineapple blowing people up with beds. Although maybe it was his original idea. I did see in his video that it was a premeditated attack. 2 diamonds. That's an acceptable apology. All is forgiven.
I hate the way they always kiss in the kitchen, acting like they're still just 21. They always seem to go for walks on Sundays and doing things they did when they were young. So I'll ask when I go home, but maybe the whole point's not to know what's the secret to keeping the love alive. What's the secret to keeping the love alive for so long?
That was a lot of digging. The area looks a little bit different now. You may notice there are 2 less giant hills. We dug a significant amount of blocks. I mean, this thing, I say this every episode, but once again, I continue to do the same things. This was so much bigger than I expected it to be. We streamed this, and I barely got through like 1/4 of one of the hills. And I did that for like 2 hours of just like straight digging. But we did finally, through perseverance and sheer determination, level both of these hills down to this Y level. Now, you may think this looks a little strange, and that's because it does, but I think I have a plan. So right now, this is a huge flat area, and we're actually gonna use the stone that we got from this hill and from this mountain thing that was here. It's like big, weird, generational, ugly, giant patch behind our house. We're gonna take all that stone and just make a huge flat area. As you can see, we've kind of already started to do. And I need to be really careful. I put some torches in here, but you can see it's getting a little dark over here. We gotta make sure we don't turn this into a mob farm, because then our mob farm won't function very well. But we're gonna level the whole area out, and then we're gonna build the city kind of up from there, if that makes sense. Our road surface will sit on top of this. And so are all like sidewalks and buildings. So you won't be able to see any of this big stone flat area, but it'll give us kind of a nice flat canvas to work with, and hopefully in the future save us from having to do very much terraforming at all. We still have to kind of transition these areas. So this hill will kind of slope down, and then I think some areas of the city we may end up changing the elevation like up or down slightly, but I really want to have like, I don't know, a big blank canvas when I start planning out like the areas of the city. I want to do a couple things, right? I want to make this thing a convincing city, but it also has to be within the scale that I can get it done as like a part-time YouTuber. You know, realistically, I only have maybe like 6 hours a week to like really dig in and do stuff in-game in the world. So we need to make this a city that we can get done in 1 season of Lotus. But I want it to be big enough that it sells the effect. And I want to have like a big shiny new buildings district, kind of like a suburby area with like townhouses, like a lower district area with like older buildings, think like Philadelphia domed old buildings and stuff like that. And then maybe a park. I think I may integrate kind of our builds that already exist into like a nice little park area and do some like bigger custom trees around it. That's all still pie in the sky thinking, because for now, we've got to get it all flattened out, get it leveled, and use up all the stone that we dug to get a nice area here to work with. And in the future, like I said, I might lower some areas, which means we'll have to kind of mine this back out, which isn't ideal, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get like a good vision for what we're going to do unless I do that ahead of time. Go take a look. We did get a bunch of resources from this. I got like 30 shulker boxes just full of pure stone. In hindsight, maybe I should have converted some of that to cobblestone, but we already have a bunch of cobblestone, and even though our cobblestone generator blew up, it did fill up like 8 double chests with cobblestone before it died. But yeah, all of these gray shulkers are stone. Now, we did have like 3 or 4 rows already full of stone, but we've extended that significantly, and we've already used like 5 shulker boxes, kind of flattening the area that you can see already. And then these are all completely full of dirt, except for the last one, which is like, no, actually they're all full. I lied. Every single one of these totally full of dirt. So if we need to make some mud or do some terraforming, we should be good to go resource-wise for a while. We're not going to update the map yet because I want to have like this really cool effect when we get the area flattened out. I want to grab the map and kind of update it then. So we're going to hold off just a little bit longer, which probably for you won't be that long. I did learn, I think in the other video, this only showed to like right here because the map render distance is based on your location, which I didn't realize. So it was only revealing as far as I could actually see. So you do have to kind of like grab the map and run over to the area, which isn't great, but now you know how maps work because I didn't. So we do have this huge area, but obviously this looks a lot different. So yeah, it was bigger than I even was showing that time. So it's a pretty big area that we're building for this city. And I think once we get it flattened, it'll give us another good thing. You can see the iron farm facade's not even showing yet. Given all that information dump and explanation dump, I don't think we're gonna get a building built in the city today, which I really wanted to get our first kind of bricks laid. Foreshadowing for the first build, I think it's going to be a brick building. Again, don't hold me to anything I say because things change around here by the moment. We're not going to get a building built because we've come into a business opportunity. We're going to be co-founding a rocket shop with Morg on the Mushroom Island. So we're going to be selling rockets. We already have the mob farm and like more gunpowder than we could ever use. And we've got a sugarcane farm. We may have to scale it up, or maybe Morg will build a sugarcane farm as his part of the duo. Although he did design the building, which is probably the hardest part, honestly. But yeah, it's a really cool build. I'm excited for you to see it momentarily. But before we even do that, we've got one other thing coming up. I think we're going to hop on a stream with Slip this evening and do a trial run. He's never done a trial chamber before, and I've kind of never done a legit trial chamber. So I have obviously full cleared the one underneath my house, and I've pacified all the spawners, but I kind of cheesed it. I would like jump in, cover up all the spawners so they couldn't dump any mobs on me. And I would like run to safe areas and fight mobs, but I think it'll be fun to go in there with Slip and like fight one of these things legit with like a sword, a shield, and just take on the mobs as they come. And I also want to bring some ominous potions for us, and we can turn it into like a real big boy chamber. And hey, maybe we'll even get a mace. I haven't opened up like the big boy chests in my trial chamber to see if we have a mace sitting down there already. We also got like, I don't know, 20 stacks of just raw coal ore, which we're not even really using coal anymore because we have the lava generators, but you know, whatever. We'll have torches for days. I guess that's good. We don't have to worry about torches for the rest of the season because these Y levels of stone are just loaded with coal, as you can see. So we ended up with a bunch of that, which is good. It's a very useful resource to have. What else did we do? We did work on a couple side projects because that took forever and I had to like get my brain right because when you dig for that long, it's just so monotonous. So I ran over here real quick, kind of did some future planning. We built a quick little sheep farm to collect our wool. So we're going to be making our pavement out of a lot of black wool, or at least the predominant block's going to be black wool, I think. I just kind of like the texture that black wool has. It has this like, it almost looks like pavement to me where, of course you can't see anything in here. It's too dark. We'll go outside. It almost looks like pavement to me because it has like a little bit of a texture to it. So it just, I don't know, it gives off the right vibe for me. Does that not look kind of like tar to you? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But we're going to use this for the most of our roads, so it's going to be a significant block. And those little wool farms, they may not seem like much, but you come back after a couple days of just hanging around the base, and I guarantee those double chests will be just totally full of wool. It's kind of crazy how much they produce. And we're only going to build like roads in the sections as we go, so I think we're going to have plenty of wool. I'm not too worried about that. And that's probably going to be like a pretty early design part of the city, is just kind of laying out some roads and blocks and getting some stuff figured out in that manner. Now, we'll probably move roads around and change stuff as we go, but it'd be nice to kind of get a nice little grid system set up and kind of get ideas of where like the different plots for buildings are going to be. Probably the most planning I've ever done for a build, but it might be interesting to kind of do some pre-planning for the area. And we also found Slip's little underground railroad entrance. I had found Skipper's before where it goes between Skipper and Slip, but I knew this existed. Like I knew he had built one here, but I hadn't actually found the opening yet. So now we have this. I came down and did a couple upgrades because when I first came down here, he just had these as like live rails and there was no way to like launch your cart other than to just set it on the rail and jump in it really fast. So we actually put, you can see I still have the materials in my inventory. We actually put like a powered thing here and you have a button now. You can kind of hop in the rail and push the button and it shoots you across. I really wish minecarts were faster. I wonder if we should just consider putting in, because I know like Mafert wants to build like a legit railroad across the entire server that kind of connects everyone. And I hope to build some kind of like subway thing as part of our system to kind of tie into that, but that's still very much in early development, but that would be really cool. And it's so perfect for a city to have like a subway system. But yeah, I added these buttons on both ends, and these powered rails so that we can stop. I also added this switch. So originally this just kind of zoomed by and you had to jump off to go to my direction. But now I have it set so that if Slip comes this way, you just hit this little button and it changes the direction. And if you're coming down the road on a rail cart, you can kind of catch it ahead of time if you want to just keep going, and vice versa if you're coming from Skipper's. So yeah, a couple neat things there. I didn't run down to Skipper's side real quick. Maybe we should do that and see and make sure his is set up. Because I went down to Slip's and made sure, and someone actually had already put a button down there. So I think it was just me that for some reason didn't have the old button set up. What is this? Wait, is that Skipper? Oh, I wonder if this is going to go all the way down to the ocean and that sign was like to Skipper or, oh, look at that. He's already started a little side project there, I think. Yeah, this is the ocean. So like this should be a block with a powered rail, right? It shouldn't just end. Although I guess if you ride this up to here, is it a cactus that'll break a minecart? Maybe we should try to do some of that stuff. I don't know. I kind of want to figure out some of this circuitry stuff, but I also think that the reality is Mafert's going to do a lot of that, so I don't want to steal his thunder too much. And, minecarts are kind of slow and not that useful, but they're fun to play around with. I like how this one comes out underwater. I just think this is really cool. It'd be fun to shoot that all the way across to the Mushroom Island, so you have like a cool little way to get there, but that's everything up till now, I think. We gotta flatten this area out. We're gonna go do a trial chamber with Slip, and we're gonna open a business with Morg selling rockets, because let's be honest, we're not profiting that much yet, and we need to make some diamonds. Let's get to work. It might not be pretty, but this is the start of something beautiful. We have flattened a very large area, and I feel like it doesn't even look as big as it is. I mean, obviously it's big. This thing is enormous, but I don't know what I was expecting, but in my brain, I was like, oh, this will be like outside. I didn't even bother to cut down this tree because I was just so fed up with placing stone blocks that I didn't want to stop until it was all placed. So I just went right around it. Fix it later. We're doing it live. Yeah, this is a huge area. And it was a lot of stone blocks. We went through like, I don't know, we can go look in a second, but I think we went through like 10 shulker boxes of stone to flatten out like the open areas and the edges. It was a lot. Digging the hills was a lot, but I can already see the vision. And on top of getting this all dug, we got our shop built with Morg, which you probably saw in the time lapse, but let's go look at it. Get a little walk down of it. It's still not 100% complete. We didn't have all the materials gathered for like the detail blocks and stuff, but we had enough of it. Oh, I have my boots off. We didn't have like all the blocks we needed for like all the really tiny details. We've got like a couple more little cool pieces to put around the build that's just kind of like, make up for the build. But the structure's up and the shop's open. We went through, we had what, 6 double chests full of gunpowder, and I think we used up 3 of them for the initial stock. Curious to see if we've had a lot of purchases, because at this point in time, it's now been open for, I don't know, like 24 hours, I guess, is probably at this point. And there's probably going to be an initial rush, is my guess, because I know a lot of people have been squeaking by with a couple rockets. Put one of our coveted launch pads here. We're going to go check the wind charge shop inventory after this too, because I've been putting these up around the server, and I've noticed a couple other people have put some up as well. So I'm thinking the old wind charge purchases is starting to come up. Right before I went into like the time lapse for flattening that area and building this shop, I think I said something about, oh, we haven't made very much money yet, so we got to get a new shop. And I have a feeling we're going to go over there and see a lot of diamonds, but we'll see. This is all of our extra shulkers. I love this. Morg just kind of took everything and piled it in it. It kind of sells the garage effect. I love it. Little garage door opener detail. By the way, this is all Morg. I simply helped place blocks. I came up with like a couple detail stuff. I like modified these pumps some, and I came up with like a cool idea to put a little gas tank, but even the fence around it was Morg's idea, so not even this is, oh, but yeah, I made a little propane tank, and you know, we've got some other small stuff. I think Morg has a design for a dumpster we didn't have the blocks for, but yeah, here's the shop. We sell 1 diamond for 2 stacks for regular rockets. Look at that, 4 diamonds already. Kind of surprised there's not more gone actually, but I think we did restock some after our first customer, and oh yeah, see, people have just been going deeper into the shop, so yeah, not bad. We paid like 8-10 diamonds in 24 hours. I don't think a lot of people have been on in the last like 24 hours, so I have a feeling that we'll get a lot more sales, and hopefully they see this video and buy more. Obviously rockets aren't like hard to craft, and like everyone can pretty much make it work, but as you get later in the season, people will just not want to do it as much, as my guess, and I feel like as time goes on, we're just going to get more and more and more sales, so I think we're going to be sitting pretty good in our diamonds. I mean, it's no enchanted book sales, but I think rockets is probably like second best thing you could sell, but not bad. We went a little cheap, I think, but people need rockets, and it seems kind of weird to gouge people for like a major mode of travel, but I feel like I didn't give you guys a good view of this thing, but he absolutely nailed the shape of this like awning, I guess you'd call it. The way this like slopes up, oh, I just love it. The rocket looks amazing. It's got the cool banner sign. Yep, pretty cool guy, Morg. Probably, I don't know, maybe go watch his latest video. Subscribe to his channel. That's just an idea. This is actually a variant of his starter base for the season, I believe. So he's going with like a Fallout theme. Essentially, we tried to make his home base, or his starter base, I guess you'd call it. It's not really a starter base because we all started on Camper Island, but his initial base for he's building long term, and we prettied it up. So like it had a lot more like diorite, and there was like light bulbs missing, and there was patches and holes because it's more like run down and in Fallout universe. So we made like a pretty new version of it essentially. But we've added another revenue stream to our business. We're now 2 of the best forms of transportation, in my opinion: wind charges and rockets. Not bad. Let's see if anyone has actually purchased any wind charges. Oh yeah, 38 diamonds. Nothing in the middle chest. Oh, 56 diamonds, not bad. Nobody wants any magma cubes, no surprise there. Oh, someone bought some string. I think I'll drop the price on that. I think 4 diamonds per 1 stack was maybe, I think I might literally put that down to 1 diamond per stack. That might have been a little high. It was, you know, you never know for your initial price what to set your stock at. I may have gone a little overboard there. I know I was desperate for it, so I thought people were like really gonna want string, but now I have a whole bunch of it from the mob farm, so there's just no reason to leave this price this high, so we'll probably drop that down to 1 diamond per stack. Yeah, not bad. A whole stack of diamonds, and I have restocked these over the past couple weeks. There weren't nearly as many as that in terms of purchases, but we have sold some here and there, so we probably made about 1.5 stacks of diamonds so far off wind charges, which, you know, it's not the easiest thing to farm. Look at that, 2 streams of revenue: wind charges and rockets. We're in the money now. Let's head back over to the base real quick. Oh, actually, I want to swing into Pineapple's base as we fly by here. So I've had this like running joke for a few weeks now. I don't think I've put it in my videos yet, funnily enough, but it has made its way into a lot of other Lotus members' videos, so if you do end up watching some other perspectives, keep an eye out for little cobs. I've just been putting mini-me's everywhere on the server. If anyone from Lotus is watching this, you can destroy them if they're annoying, but I just think they're hilarious. And I have a little guy fishing here on Pineapple's crane. I've got a little mini-me version over here at Skipper's base, who I've got, I think I have him dressed up as a, what's the name of the axe-wielding evil guys? I can't remember their names, but anyway, yeah. He's a little pillager guy with an axe. Pretty cool. This was before I, like, really started getting into the armor stands, so, you know, kind of a basic pose, but I like the head with the axe. I still think it's a good one. Meferts, I'm pretty happy with this one. I was inspired by, have you ever seen pictures of, like, a dung beetle rolling those, like, mud balls? So I figured if he had a mud shop, what if we had a little mini-me over here pushing some mud around? So I made a little me to move this mud block. It doesn't look like he's doing a very good job at it, and it doesn't look like it's a little bit heavier than he can handle, and these don't roll as good as, you know, those typical mud balls. But yeah, these are fun. So anyway, if you're watching other perspectives, keep an eye out. There's mini-me's everywhere. You really never know when you might see one. It's a handsome little guy. I think next episode we'll do some city planning and definitely build our first building. I feel a little bit bad that we didn't really get our own build in this episode, but I just had to get a clean slate so that I could really kind of visualize it. And this is gonna make it so much easier when we start laying out roads everywhere in terms of like planning what each city block kind of looks like shape and size wise. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll start planning out the shapes. We probably won't place all the roads at first because that's gonna be a ridiculous amount of black wool, but we'll at least get like major intersections done and then maybe just like an outline for some of the other roads. I think I want to keep, I don't know, I don't want to have one building per block, but I definitely want to keep it like small little chunks so that when you're like right there in the middle of the city, you feel like surrounded by the buildings and it feels like you're in a city, if that makes sense. We'll see, you know, it's Minecraft. We'll see if we can sell that effect, but that's my plan and my hopes and my aspirations. There's a lot of season left and a lot between now and then, but if I can make it happen, that's the goal. But that is definitely all that we have time for this episode. But if you made it this far in the episode, I appreciate you. Consider subscribing. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.